Government watchdog group Open the Books has received documents through a Freedom of Information Act request that reveal Dr. Anthony Fauci became the highest paid federal employee after receiving a permanent pay adjustment for his level of responsibility for biodefense research activities. One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
Adam Andrzejewski, you are the CEO of Open the Books, a watchdog group, and you discovered a while ago that Dr. Anthony Fauci, he was the head of the NIH's Allergies and Infectious Disease Center, was the highest paid employee in the federal government. But now you have discovered why. And the answer, according to documents you have received, is that he is being paid to, quote, appropriately compensate him for the level of responsibility, especially as it relates to his work on biodefense research activities. Biodefense research activities, and that sounds like it could include this gain of function research. Is that accurate, Mr. Andrzejewski?
So in a nutshell, Fauci's the top paid federal employee out of 4.3 million federal employees because he was paid to prevent a pandemic. Look, when we unearthed that Fauci was the most highly compensated federal employee, we did that last January, many people were confused. They wondered how Dr. Fauci could be the most highly compensated, even out here in the President of the United States. Today, we know the reason. We unearthed the memo from 2004, where Fauci received a permanent pay adjustment specific to his work on bioterrorism and biodefense.
What does that mean?
So that means he was tip of the spear. Fauci, in a nutshell, was paid to prevent the next pandemic. He was paid to prepare the nation for a pandemic. But not only did we get a pandemic, but the nation was not prepared for that pandemic either.
But apparently he was also compensated to do or fund or oversee biodefense research. That seems a little bit different than preparing the nation for a pandemic, doesn't it?
So it's all a matter of definition. So his critics, Fauci's critics, will say that he created super pathogens that had the, if they fell into the hands of the wrong people or escaped the laboratory environment, that they could actually cause a pandemic.
Is that accurate?
It's very that the country's most highly compensated federal employee paid to stop a pandemic. The pandemic probably started at the Wuhan laboratory, which Fauci had funded out of his agency for the past 10 years.
And was he funded, do we know, though, if he was funding gain-of-function research, according to your information?
But it just may be semantics and definition. Even the Washington Post took a look at Fauci's agency funding since 2012, and they found 17 times for over $40 million, the Washington Post said that Fauci's agency fund gain-of-function experiments. Now, in recent years, and it's still going on today, Fauci's agency is funding what people do call gain of function, risky, dangerous laboratory experiments where they soup up a virus and then they say they create a vaccine or they create an antidote to be able to stop that virus from going forward. So back in 2014, during the Obama administration, there was a scare at a lab where they souped up a virus, they gave it to ferrets, and it scared the scientific community. They were able to jump a virus into an animal population.
So then there was a pause because of safety concerns, but then, as you mentioned, he got around that pause, and how did that happen?
Through exemptions and waivers. So Francis Collins, who heads up the National Institutes of Health, he would issue an exemption or a waiver, and Dr. Fauci, out of his sub-agency, would fund that grant. So the very people participating in the, quote, gain-of-function laboratory experiments, they continued to get funded, the critics say, underneath Dr. Fauci's leadership.
Adam Andrzejewski, CEO of Open the Books and openthebooks.com. Thank you very much for joining us on One America News, sir.
Thank you.